episode of Beating Alpha. This is episode 154, and we have a very special guest. His name is Cody Payne. So Cody is a senior vice president for Colliers International. You probably heard about this company, and basically he's in Fort Worth, Texas, and specializes in selling office and industrial investment properties in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. So over the past 15 years, Cody has closed more than 600 commercial real estate transactions. Combined with Colliers International platform and Cody's extensive knowledge and expertise of leasing, management, market conditions, and business, the Texas office and industrial team provides their clients and investors the opportunity to maximize value while creating a competitive advantage that yields the best results. And of course, more background of Cody's, you should go and check it out, the show notes. It's going to be full bio in there because there's a lot of great pieces about him. And again, more information, colliers.com, or probably the best one will be texasofficeinvestments.com. And of course, Cody's cell phone number, and email is going to be linked there below. So make sure to go and hit them up, and ask all these questions about office and industrial investments. But first of all, Cody, really appreciate you coming on today to the show.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. I like the intro.
There's a lot of information, right? Sounds great when somebody else reads it, right? Good.
Yeah, it sounds much better.
So listen, one thing that I wanted to ask you again before probably we dive in and talk about, why people should focus on office and industrial, type of investments, because before I hit the record button, I talked, with you a little bit, and you kind of explained that there's a lot of people right now looking for industrial investments. And of course, we can talk about those two assets. But talking about your personal experience, can you just take us back to the point of you discovering real estate investing, and how did you ended up working with Colliers?
Yeah, so I actually started in 2005. I worked for a small local company out in Arlington, Texas, and they ended up buying into a Stray Venice franchise at that time. And so I was leasing office and industrial for probably about 10 years for them. And then, just kept elevating myself, adding more and more guys on. And now we're at Colliers International. I got 8 guys here, and I think some of the greatest talent in North Texas, and actually probably all of Texas. I would bet on that. But our main focus now is selling investment, office, and industrial buildings. And even with COVID, we're still rocking and rolling.
Awesome. So, from your personal perspective, have you ever, help companies just like Colliers? Have you ever sold only investment properties, or have you did any residential stuff?
No, I've never done residential. It's always been office and industrial buildings. We're very niche specific, and I'm a big believer in that, because if you're going to sell something as sophisticated as a office building that are some of the most expensive investment, commercial real estate investments to operate, you got to know what you're doing. And so instead of being a jack of all trades, we like to master our craft, and that's what I believe that we've done.
Yeah, and that is awesome, because I just want to ask you one thing again from curiosity point. Is the fees are smaller in commercial properties, right, for the brokers than in residential, as far as I heard?
Well, I mean, you got to keep in mind, the percentages change a lot more, I can tell you that. But I got a couple of friends that are in residential, and they sell $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes, and they're getting those 6%. But we don't sell anything that low, and so the fees traditionally sometimes do get negotiated or dropped a little more. But it's all the value, it's all the representation, and so we got to keep the motor running here. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, because I just want to ask you, because when I come across people, when they think about the broker, most of the times they do think about kind of Beverly Hills type of selling luxury properties, and that's where they get the picture. So, and you're providing these asset classes again for a different clientele who are looking to invest in assets rather than liabilities, because those multi-million-dollar houses are liabilities, So,
yeah, no, ours is investment grade.
yeah, exactly. So, look, so again, moving on right now to the office space, can you take us back, or maybe even before that, can you talk about a little bit about the Dallas-Fort Worth market and why people should pay attention to Dallas market?
Yeah, so I mean, and I think everybody hears in the news of businesses, leaving other states and coming to Texas, and homes and families continuing to move to Texas. And so our economy out here is very good, especially in North Texas. We don't drive off of one specific factor, like a lot of people do believe that we are highly oil and gas based in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which, we do have a lot of that, but, our economy does not solely run on oil and gas. Houston runs on it more than the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And but we still have a lot of companies moving here. The growth is very, very good. We've got a lot of areas and a lot of room for growth as DFW continues to expand outward. And so you hear of towns like Frisco and Plano and Prosper and whatnot, and those cities continue to experience a lot of growth. But companies find a lot of good reasons to move here, and our cost of living is very good, very reasonable. And although it does go up whenever you have a booming economy, it's one thing that I think has continued to help. And, but I will say the office sector, has in many parts and circumstances has taken a little bit of a hit in some areas, but I believe it's recovering and doing well. And, our office product, we're still moving it. We've got, 7 buildings under contract right now that are listed to be closed. And, I think that these things all look good, and we've had a great year as well on the office and industrial side. And so I see nothing but great positive notes on both ends.
Got it. So again, still talking about the market a little bit, maybe, from the top of your head, if no, that's fine, but maybe you can give a kind of top 3 or top 5 different industries that kind of would be the main drivers in Dallas market.
Yeah, so what you got to keep in mind is Dallas-Fort Worth is really made up of a lot of sub-cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is where you've got Houston. It's just Houston. Dallas-Fort Worth, you've got you got Irving, you've got Plano, McKinney, you've got all these other sub-cities that also have different driving factors to them. Fort Worth is going to be probably a little more oil and gas than most of the other cities. And then you've got, other economies in other cities. You got certain Fortune 500 companies that are, crowded in parts of, Irving, Las Colinas area, Farmers Branch, kind of scooting on up north. And so that's what's great about our package deal up here in Dallas-Fort Worth is, each city has a lot of good driving factors for it, and not all of them are the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So talking about the taxes, like how does Texas compares to the surrounding markets? Again, not comparing Texas to California because that's an easy comparison. Yeah. But what about the surrounding markets? How does that compare tax-wise?
Well, and especially with property taxes, right? That's the biggest issue out here mm-hmm. that people sometimes underestimate is the property taxes. Even though we are a non-disclosure state, the property taxes out here do and have been increasing quite well. And that's why property tax consultants and there's so many tax consultant companies out here in Texas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because that's a big business, is fighting property taxes. And so especially if you don't have a triple net lease investment, you don't have triple net leases in your office or industrial building, then the taxes are on you to face a lot of the times. And so that's one factor that a lot of out-of-state owners we see can make those mistakes and not consistently protesting those or swapping leases over to get assistance from the tenant on those. And so that's why it's very important to kind of understand those factors before you buy something out here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. So when it comes to because I heard about it, Texas before, as I kind of was doing, my own personal research and just looking at the deals. And when I looked at some of the deals, the insurance was pretty high. And one of the reasons because of these kind of flood zones. So is that happening a lot? Is the insurance, so what are the prices we're talking about for insurance? Because that's, it's quite expensive sometimes, or at least could be.
Well, and you may see a little more of that in Houston than Dallas Fort Worth, and you know, up here you'll probably have a little more tornado coverage, wind and hail coverage. You know, the flood areas, we see a lot more of those kind of going south, Texas, as you go kind of towards Houston and whatnot. We're selling an office building out in Corpus Christi, and you know, their insurance is quite high area, but it's really going to be dependent on the city. Houston's a lot flatter than Dallas Fort Worth is.
Got it. Okay. So now moving on to the office buildings, and of course we're going to talk about industrial because that's a very interesting space on itself. So where do you see office buildings? Like what's happening in a Fort Worth area right now with the office buildings? I mean, because you're selling and leasing those, right?
Yeah, so we mostly are on the investment sales side, but you know, we talk to all the owners of office buildings out here. That's kind of our job, to make sure we stay finely tuned within what's going on in the market. And you know, for the most part, in most areas, you know, office is I think holding very well compared to other markets. You know, if you compare it to how it was doing last year, you know, obviously it's not doing as well as it was doing last year, but compared to other markets, it's doing well. And as Texas, you know, continued to reopen, I saw some stats today that talked about the office recovery in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I believe it's #1 in all of the U.S. And so the office sector is doing good. Yeah, several parts of it have taken a hit and probably will continue to see it. But like I said, as more and more companies move out here, and with the way our economy is built, I'm very optimistic and positive about it. You're probably not going to see as much rental growth, you know, throughout the rest of the year. But, you know, I think a lot of that also could be, today's a big day in the election. And so a lot of those factors could kind of play a part. But I believe as far as office goes, you know, we've got a lot of people optimistic about it. I'm optimistic about it. We're still moving it. We're still having great success with it. And, you know, I know several owners that are still having great success leasing their projects. And so, but like I said, some of them are struggling. And so I would recognize that as well. So it's very important to kind of know, you know, if you're looking to buy out here, where are some of the better areas to buy, where are the higher velocity of tenants, you know, understanding the sizes and what people look for and what areas is very key and important.
Got it. So, and do you provide some of that guidance? Because of course it's based on an investor. I mean, he's supposed to do his own due diligence on the market, on a deal itself, but do you provide any guidance when it comes to, you know, because I'm sure there will be some people who are kind of maybe first time buyers, or maybe it's a second deal, and you know they think it's going to be great investment. And do you provide guidance saying like, oh, I don't think about that deal, you know, there's something better that we have in the pipeline that we can offer?
Absolutely. You know, we are in it for the long term. I've been doing this for, you know, over 15 years, and you know, it's very important that we help people make the right decisions. And you know, we represent a lot of buyers that purchase stuff out here. And so we like to make sure that they're making the right decision, because, you know, we're going to be the ones to help them sell it, or help them make the right decision on who's going to lease it, and kind of help, you know, manage the deal or help cut expenses. You know, we've done syndications here as well. And so, yeah, we're very, very intricate and detailed whenever we're looking at a project.
Got it. Good. Because again, yes, you have, as you mentioned, 15 years of experience in this market in particular. So having the insights and knowing exactly what's happening and what, like, location specifically with the Fort Worth, you know, giving those insights to the people that are looking to invest, provide them guidance. I mean, it's definitely very beneficial for those people. So that's great. I love that you said that. So again, talking about the office space itself, like, where do you see it going in the future? Like, say, you know, this and next year, and how is that? Again, talking about the elections. So depending on who's going to win, like, how is that going to influence, you know, like office market or just real estate in general in Dallas?
Well, I mean, as you know, I mean, only time will tell. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's the great thing about life and business is we don't know the answer, and so that's the fun part of it. But you know, I feel, regardless of who wins, I feel very good about our economy out here, especially with the amount of companies and people that continue to come out here. And so I feel very good about the office sector, even if it does, you know, if we get a second wave of COVID, which I know could be, could impact things very negatively. But I like our governor. I like how our state is ran. A lot of the governors out here are very good. And so I feel good about the office. I feel good about really all the asset classes, to be honest with you. But the office sector, office isn't going anywhere. It's not the death of office. You know, as you remember 12 years ago, they were saying retail was dead, and, you know, they had some of the best retail years, you know, 2015 through 19. You know, our retail guys here were, you know, destroying it and dominating, and cap rates kept getting more and more compressed on those net lease projects and even retail strip centers. So, but as far as the office and industrial side goes, I think there's nothing but great things out here, and I think that it's still a great product type to look into.
Definitely. So yeah, like from my personal view, I don't think that everybody will stay at home and that's going to be the end of the, you know, office space. I mean, I think people would love to come back to their work and to the office space and, you know, just leave the home once in a while at least, you know, because I think.
Oh yeah, we're here right now.
Yeah, here you go. I'm in my fake office space right now, and I'm actually at home. So, you know, and people are getting sick of that, and people want to go back to work. So at some point when the lockdown is going to be over, and just a question of when, but during these times, as I said, you know, are some deals, again, for the people to make a move on, because it could be, you know, it could work out great, you know, looking from an investment perspective, depending on the numbers and again, location, and depending the way you're going to underwrite it, what you're going to do with the deal. But it could be, there's a lot of people making a lot of moves right now because there's a lot of people are fearful and not making those moves, but you can actually find some heavily discounted deals, you know, so that's available.
I believe so. I believe so.
So talking about industrial investments, can you talk about that a little bit again? And, you know, what type of industrial investments are we talking about? Is it the warehouses, or like what are the most like top 5 or top 3 that you're selling?
So industrial by far is the most sought after investment that we have right now. Anytime we list it this year, or really over the past 5 years, anytime we've listed it, we've always had numerous offers. We just actually put another one under contract that we had hard earnest money on day one, which you don't get a lot in office and industrial. But the industrial side is very, is doing very well. It's very popular. It's like I said, one of the most sought after investments. The flex, the multi-tenant flex investment, where you've got, you know, a couple offices and the rest warehouse, and you got a bunch of small bays for tenants. Those are very highly sought after, and we're moving those at higher price per square foot numbers than I ever have, even on the metal constructed multi-tenant projects. And so, you know, these things continue to be built out here. We work with several developers that continue to build them and have them leased before they even finish construction. And so we like that kind of asset class. I think that one's going to continue to strive and do well out here. The rents keep holding strong, and in many areas moving up. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's actually the most popular asset class for cross-product buyers who are, you know, we've got people that have historically owned apartments for a long time. We even have a guy that sold or that ran self-storage facilities for a long time, and they've bought flex industrial business parks off of us. And so those are ones that a lot of companies and private investors from out of state keep eyeing out here, and those are the ones that we keep working on a lot.
Got it. Okay. So, you know, just I'm continuing to look at the number, which is like 600 commercial real estate transactions. And, you know, like, I just want to ask you that question, like in that 600 commercial transaction number, what was your, like, the biggest achievement? Because it's been 15 years.
I don't know. That's a good question. Each one is different. I can't think of one that is like my golden child. A couple of those were portfolio deals that we had to work really hard to get the business on, and there weren't a lot of buyers out there for some of those, and we were able to find them. And so there's not one that comes to mind, but we love them all. I can tell you, they're all they're all great. We love them all, and we're glad we were able to do them.
Exactly. That's the right answer. Basically, that's the right answer.
Yeah. Hey, that's the political answer.
Here you go. Here you go. So look, talking from your own personal perspective, I mean, senior vice president right now, 15 years in the business. So what are your personal goals and what are you planning to get accomplished? Let's say until the end of this year, is it going to be, we're going to look at the transaction number or just, personal goals, whatever, or let's talk, 2 years ahead from now. Like, what do you have set up for yourself personally?
Well, that's a good question, and it's been the same answer for a long time, but I think we're even closer now. We can almost taste it. I think, like I told you, I've got 8 guys here that we all have the same goal, and that's to be the go-to, the number one office and industrial investment sales team in Texas. We're not there yet. But we are so close, and I believe we will get there. And every day we are more and more motivated to do it. And I've got the greatest set of guys here that and gals that have all the talent and tenacity and aggressiveness and everything you need to be the right team. We've got a good group, and so we're just going to keep selling, moving these investments, making sure people are doing the right things, putting them on the right path, and promoting them all the products properly, and we'll be there. We'll be there. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly. So, and of course, like one question that I would like to ask, because I know there's a few people that at least I spoke with myself, and they're looking to hire more staff, more people, again from a brokerage perspective. So, can you just give us some tips on hiring people, and what are the kind of the points that you're looking at to make sure that those people are going to be the right fit for your company and for the goals that you have?
Well, I mean, and this, I mean, you got to get a good sense of them, a good feel of them. Initially, you can't just kind of force it. They gotta fit organically with everybody within the team. And look, everybody here, like I said, that's the greatest thing. Everybody here has the exact same goal. We have the exact same goal, and that's to be the best in our field, hands down. And we push each other every day, and we work towards it every day. And if you have somebody that's not on the same page, they probably don't need to be a part of the team, because one bad egg can destroy the whole batch. And so we've been together for a long time, and I see a bright future for all the guys here, and even myself. And so it's just finding the right people with the right goals. And everybody has goals. Everybody has dreams, goals, aspirations, but aligning them as the same as everyone else is not the easiest thing to do, and I think that we've done that.
Got it. So short question: sales or marketing, which is most important?
Marketing.
And can you expand on that? Why is that?
I mean, we got to market these things to sell them, but if you're consistently marketing stuff and you're consistently out there and people are seeing your name and what you do and associating you with what you do, and what I always want, and what I always thought is, we want somebody to, whoever, if you look at an office or an industrial building, I want you to think of Cody Payne or somebody on our team. And so we market ourselves that way, and the sales always come with it as long as the work's put into it, and most of the work is done via marketing, I believe.
Good, and that's a great perspective. Definitely, I do agree. So again,
is that what you think?
Huh?
Is that what you think?
Well, exactly. That's what I think. It's definitely about the marketing.
Yeah.
And marketing is definitely is sales is in the marketing too. Because look, without the marketing, because now we live in a digital space, and like it's all about who knows you and who you know as well. But how people gonna know you if you're not out there? It's gonna be very difficult, because there are a lot of people who are out there. So to position, and that's what I wanted to ask you about the sales or marketing, because if you want to position yourself as a leader, and that's what you're going to do through the marketing to make sure that people will perceive you as leader before they will hit the phone, you know, and make some sales.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So look, can you give us some tips from a business perspective? Because I do understand, like we're talking right now, you're building, business, like the company successfully, you have the right team, and you're looking to hit your personal goals and goals as a team. But look, those days still happen, when you're like, like things are not going as I planned, it's like things are coming up. So how do you do you have the process to just always to stay on the top of yourself?
So like when things are going wrong, what do you do?
Yeah, like what do you do? Do you have a strategy? Like how do you go from this kind of down spiral to the up, like, because look, life's happening, not every day is going to be like fantastic and you're just motivated all over the place.
Yeah, no, I mean, and people always say that I'm in a great mood or whatnot, but I can tell you just like anybody, I mean, I go through bad moods in stages, and sometimes everything does go wrong. And that's okay. What I usually do is I try to remember something great that has happened and how I got there and how I did that. And so it just really all depends. But you gotta take life in stride and just figure out, okay, how did this go wrong? Nothing I can do about it. How do I get better? How do I avoid it? And what do we learn from here, and not force the issue? I think like a lot of people or men, I used to always try to force the issue, or force the sale or whatever you want to call it. And it just never works out when you do that. And so you just got to take it in stride, get better, figure it out, and move on.
Yeah, again, just doing a little bit of reflecting and understanding why that happened, right? So besides that, doing the reflecting and learning from the mistakes, like, because, the best way to mitigate the risk is through, talking with people, learning from people, courses, I don't know. So maybe you can talk about your own personal kind of part where you continue to educate and strive to be personal best.
Yeah, and it's really every day for me, coming in here and staying on task and making sure that I'm doing everything and doing my part to help the team succeed, and making sure the guys here stay motivated and keep their eyes on the prize. And so it's something that we got to do every day. And I know you do it in your business, and it's just finding the motivations. Sometimes you don't have it, but you got to figure it out. And sometimes you don't do it for you got to do it for other people. And then sometimes you got to do it just because it's the right thing to do. Or sometimes it's just the process and you got to just keep doing the process.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of different moving pieces, in business. Again, for you to manage the right teams, put people in place, keep people accountable, and, motivate those people. And of course, they have their own personal drivers and motivation why they continue to succeed, as brokers themselves. But yeah, I mean, because for you, it's a very important job, because again, if you have those personal goals, you want to be the best. And that's why I'm asking these little bit different questions, because I want to find out how do you operate and how do you conduct business a little bit. But that's awesome. So again, the last question that I have for you, like beside what you're currently working on, so 600 commercial real estate transactions and counting, 15 years, I mean, you accomplished some incredible things, and now working, consistently with Colliers. So what is the personal legacy that you want to leave behind you as well?
That I'm still trying to figure out. And, it's probably not to be the best in the commercial real estate industry in Dallas-Fort Worth, because, once you're gone, maybe you'll have an award or something named after you, but, that's not really good enough for me. So I'm still young. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't have any kids yet. So that's something that is to be determined. But as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know.
That is awesome. I love the honesty, by the way. Instead of saying, look, I'll help all these people, which of course I'm sure you will. I'm sure you
Absolutely. We do charity work. We do a little bit of everything. And, obviously I want to make an impact on people's lives. But as far as what is the one thing that I want to be remembered as is, I want to be the greatest at something. And so I'll figure it out.
Exactly. There's always a bigger picture, right? But look, at the same time, what you're working on as a vice president for Colliers it is very important, and it definitely helps a lot of people. For those people who are looking to invest into office space or industrial, investments. So definitely make sure to get in contact with Cody, and of course, all that information, as I said, is in the show notes. So, give him a call, send him an email. Of course, the social media is going to be there, quite easier to reach, from marketing perspective. And just go and, ask them questions, what type of deals do you have, and like maybe you can grab a coffee, of course, with the, social distancing involved, and just walk through the deals and, just see what Dallas Fort Worth has to offer, because again, it's a great market. There's a lot of people looking forward to that. So Cody, just again, big thank you again for coming on today to the show and, sharing all these insights and, whys on why people should come in and invest in Dallas. So appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So guys and girls, before we're going to go, one thing that I wanted to ask you, if you shared this episode with a friend of yours, and of course, best case scenario, if that friend is looking to invest in Dallas Fort Worth area, looking to buy some office space, maybe you heard him talking about that, or to buy, to invest into industrial property. So make sure to pass this episode along to those people. Cody, again, thank you for coming on today. And as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.